What's good, rap fam? It's DJ Skandalous. Come back with another video. For this video, we're going to break down the recent song release from Aaliyah called Poison featuring The Weeknd. We're going to break down why it sounds the way it does. And it doesn't really sound like any other Aaliyah song vocally. The song is great. The beat is great. But the vocals sound very different than what you're used to. And I'm going to tell you why. Let's get it.
I'm built for it, nigga.
Alright guys, so if you aren't familiar with Aaliyah, she died in a plane crash around 2001. She was a very amazing R&B singer. Could have been one of the premier singers of this generation if she stayed alive. She still is considered a princess or queen of R&B. You know, there's much debate about that. But anyway, this is her first real release of a song, maybe since the year 2003 from her I Care For You posthumous album that came out after she passed away. So on that album, there was a couple, unreleased songs that were used for that album. However, this is the first real unreleased song that was actually released by her estate. Ever since then, there was a big battle between her uncle, which was the record label owner that distributed her music back then, and the other family members of her estate. So that's why her songs were pulled off of iTunes, Spotify. And any time that people try to put that music on there, they got hit with lawsuits and the music got taken away. And it's just very unfortunate because, with other deceased musicians, the way that we can gain access to their music and hear them is through YouTube, but also Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, and places like this. A lot of people still use those platforms to stream music daily, monthly, and whenever they want to, really. So not having her music on there, I feel like it really hurt her brand and her legacy, because if you want to go see, or hear Try Again, you would have to go to YouTube, or you would have to go to Facebook Watch. Maybe it's on there. I don't know. But YouTube would be the main source, and not everybody wants to go and listen on YouTube. So not having her music on Spotify also not only hurt her brand being out there, but also royalties to the family that relies on that money. Now, this is their first real release. We've seen releases throughout the last 10 years of her vocals being used on tracks such as Chris Brown's track, such as a Drake track called Enough Said, and also another track called Talk Is Cheap, which is unreleased but leaked out online. It features Drake as well. Now, this was supposed to be for an album that Drake was going to be working on, or maybe they even finished around 2012, 2011. So this album never came out because the family of Aaliyah basically said that they did not appreciate this music and they were not really supportive of it. So the producer would, along with Drake, pulled out of that project because there was a lot of backlash, not only from the estate, but from the fans overall. And to me, that's very unfortunate because, I'm a big fan of Michael Jackson. I'm a big fan of Tupac, big fan of DMX. And it would suck as a fan to not have their unreleased music that they wasted a lot of years of their life recording, not have it released. So to have all these tracks just in the vault sitting around doing nothing when they can actually be released, they can enhance their brand. They can spread their message for this generation, upcoming generations, and new generations of fans can be gained from that can be exposed to the back catalog. That's why I always say with, Tupac songs, if you know me on my YouTube channel, I do a lot of Tupac stuff. So that's why I say, regardless if it's a track from 1991, 1990, 1996, 1988, it doesn't matter. Put that out on an album and make the album sound cohesive and stick to the era that song was built within. And that's one of the things they went wrong with. They, make Frankenstein songs, remixes, and they put songs on different albums or songs from different eras on the same album, which made not even much sense. And they did the same with Michael Jackson. They were taking songs from 1983, throwing on an album from 2009, and that would never happen. That's unrealistic. So with like tracks from Aaliyah, just getting it out there is going to build new fans, and they'll be able to go back over the original catalog, find Try Again, find One in a Million. Not every fan that's generated, through online or clicking a song is going to know all that music. But if you have a new album come out and they'll be like, oh, look at this new album, they're going to go back over the original catalog, and that's going to spread their message. So I've always been a big, strong supporter of releasing the unreleased music. It just depends on how you do it without tarnishing their brand, their legacy, their message by censoring, by editing, by changing beats all over the place and putting them with artists that they would not necessarily work with. So I understand from the standpoint that fans are somewhat against this because this is not anything that she might have approved of. We don't know if she would have worked with the Weeknd. Overall, I feel like the song is good. It has a great beat. The Weeknd complements her vocals very well. Obviously, her vocals are from an unreleased song or a demo take of a song. And what I mean by demo, I don't really mean like one of her released songs and the original version of that. They consider that a demo, but more so like a test version of a song where she was just practicing some vocals, or maybe she was just doing some lyrics and she didn't really hit her high notes as well. There's some demos like that. So you may have a song that's vocally complete or have a bridge or a hook, but she's not singing to her full capacity. And with those, you can use sound effects, reverb, you can change stuff about song, you have background singers, you can hide that very well. So with this song, Poison, that's featuring Aaliyah, obviously it's a remix. The beat is very brand new. It's nothing from the year 2000 and before. So the beat is very different than what you would typically hear on Aaliyah track. And like I said, I think this song is very well produced. I think it's by Mike Dean, which he also did some Tupac songs too back in the day. And overall, the vocals are just very piss poor. And people have been talking about why the vocals sound like that. It sounds like they just slapped them together. It sounds like the mixing and mastering is wrong. Well, what I'm going to tell you is the reason why that those vocals sound the way they do. And that's because they did not have access to the studio acapella. And what the acapella is just the singer or rapper, their voice. So when they have the headphones on, they're in their booth, they just hear the beat through their headphones and they're being captured their voice. That way, when a mixer is doing the song, they can separate stuff. They can change stuff around. They can make a remix. They even did remixes back in the 90s before we even had all this online where we could just do it ourselves. So really, a master reel would usually have the layers of the beat. The master reel will have the vocals. They'll have the ad-libs. So like if you have a singer and then she comes back in and she sings over top of herself, there'll be two different layers. So you would have access to all that. So you could take the layer, you can move it around, and you can mix it on a new beat. You can mute a layer and just have that solo layer there where it will make her vocals sound a little bit thinner. But from my understanding is they probably did not have the master reel with all the layers. So what they had to do is basically what I do. I have access to a lot of Tupac acapellas, Biggie acapellas, and these are studio acapellas where it's just mixed down vocals and it has nothing of the beat. And this was leaked probably years and years ago, and new vocals get leaked all the time. But with songs that I don't have, there's a lot of Tupac songs, a lot of Biggie songs I don't have. The acapella has never leaked. So what we do as DJs, we have programs such as Lala AI or Phonic Mind and eMastered, and a lot of these programs that are online that you can actually have a AI try to filter out much of the beat as possible. So I'm going to show you guys that right now. All right, so this is a website called Lala AI. All you do is just throw in the song right here. And this could be a Aaliyah song. This could be the vocals mixed with the overall instrumental. Usually that's what it's good for. And when you mix it on here, you will definitely notice that it actually extracts the vocals. Now let me just open my mixer here, what I do when I mix online for my songs. And here's the song I already extracted. This is an unreleased song called Death of a Player from Aaliyah. I think it was released on a single or a soundtrack or something like that, but it's still technically usable for a new album. So you'll see here, I extracted this from the overall song, but you'll see it's very robotic. You have some elements of the original beat filtering through, and you can still hear elements of that in the background. Now, the beauty about remixing, right? I could take a instrumental, that's very much sounding like the original, or I could take a totally different instrumental and beat, and I could take those vocals and I can really mask the quality of those vocals behind the instrumental. It just depends on what type of instrumental you have. It depends also on the overall song that you extracted the vocals from. If the beat is too high and the vocals are drowned out on the original song, or it's just a piss poor quality of the original song, the extractions are going to be different. And also the websites that you use to extract the vocals, it's going to make the song or the acapella sound different as well. So you got to be wary of that. I'm sure that they have different programs and plugins and Pro Tools and stuff like that. They do it themselves. But this is something a DJ with not really much money that's just doing for fun online can do for themselves. So you'll see here, you still hear that robotic sound. So if they did not have access to the overall acapella, what they did is they created a CPU generated acapella. That's what I call it, a CPU generated acapella or CPU acapella. And this is essentially what I said. It's not the studio quality acapella, it's just one extracted from the beat. Now the problem that they have with this track is they made the CPU generated acapella, and that's because the master reel that they have is probably misplaced or lost. I know there was another singer that worked with her that passed away, and most likely he had access to a lot of tracks that the estate did not have. So that very well, the master reel could be in possession of his estate, his family members. However, how the Aaliyah estate and her uncle did not gain access to that is beyond me. Sometimes people hide stuff. Some people don't even know that there's certain songs with different reels. You can have a reel with 3 different songs and it just gets misplaced and mislabeled. You can have a song with the same name. You can have different takes of the same song with different vocals, and people don't realize that these are different lyrics from version to version. There's a lot of different ways that they can misplace these vocals and the overall reel. Now, the thing is with me, if you're going to take a CPU generated acapella, which I would never tell anybody to do for an official album. If you're doing Michael Jackson, if you're doing Tupac, you definitely should not be using CPU generated acapellas, because when you mix them on an album, the next song that uses a studio acapella is going to sound very much different than the other song that you had that where you use a CPU generated acapella going from track to track. It's going to be very disjointed. Now, the thing is with using a CPU generated acapella as well, you're not going to gain access to all the individual layers, so you'll not be able to change stuff about the overall song that she sang. You'll not be able to extract any harmonizations or any background vocals and use it elsewhere for intro or outro, and make the song a little bit longer. That's one of the main problems. You just get what you get, whatever the mix down of that song was that you put through the extraction, it's going to be the way it is. Now, one of the things that they could have done, and I don't really know what the original song sounds like. I've been trying to find the original song. I could not find it. I think it's just a plain beat. And usually this is the case for unreleased songs. Not every unreleased song is complete. So this could have just been a plain beat without any breaks in the song, without any features. It could have just been a hook and a bridge, and that's really it. It could have been a full-length song. We don't really know. So let's just say it's a hook and a bridge, and that's really it. So that you could take that track, you can cut and paste the vocals. You can throw in the Weeknd and cut and paste the vocals again after the Weeknd. And that's how you extend her vocals to make her more on the track than what she originally was. However, when you take a beat and you're making the beat, you should really make the beat to complement the original beat, so you can highlight that robotic residue that's going to be present on your CPU acapella. Now, if you just make a beat and you decide, oh, I got these vocals here, I'm going to mix them on there, the problem is the beat is going to be too thin in some places. The beat is not going to have a bass line that's going to mask it well. The snares might not match up as well. So you might have a lot of stuff that bleed through, and this is what happened here. And this track sounds very robotic because you did not have a beat that masked the overall quality of the acapellas very well. So long story short, guys, I know I was rambling on. I really wanted to break this down because I know a lot of guys are complaining about why is her vocal sounding like this? It just seems like a cash grab. And that's because they did not have access to the master reel, I believe. So they made a CPU generated acapella. Hopefully they can still find it and they can swap it out online on Spotify, iTunes, like Kanye did with Chris Brown. He removed Chris Brown from his Donda album, so maybe they can do that. I don't know. But I totally understand the fans and why they feel it's like a cash grab. Why would you use these incomplete vocals and the vocal quality like this as your lead single when there's many unreleased songs still left of Aaliyah? I think there's a song called Giving Up, a great piano, soft type song that could be an amazing single. You also have a song called Girlfriends. You also have a song, Enough Said, which you could remove Drake and have the solo version. You also have the other song with Drake, Talk Is Cheap. You also have another great track called Where Could He Be, Death of a Player, No Days Gone By. And I believe like a track like No Days Gone By or Death of a Player, even if a song like that was released on a single, they could reuse it because it wasn't officially on her album. Those songs would have been way better to release as a single if they had the master reel. So for me, like I said way back earlier in the video, any type of album can benefit the overall brand and legacy of Aaliyah, of DMX, of Tupac, because it will generate new fans. New fans will be able to hear that album. They'll go back over the original catalog. So I'm very much a supporter of releasing unreleased music. I'm just not a supporter of them butchering everything and changing everything. The way that they could have masked that, the vocal quality of Poison, maybe they could have just updated the original beat. Maybe they could have used the original beat and just threw The Weeknd on it. You know, if they already have the incomplete song, whereas Aaliyah and she does her verse and her hook and her bridge, and the beat just plays, The Weeknd could have just been thrown on there, and then you cut and paste Aaliyah after. That could have sounded just as good as a normal song. Now, as to why they didn't do that, I just told you why. Maybe they just don't have the master reel. Maybe this was the best track that they thought Weeknd could be on. They should have used a track that they had the studio acapella for. Anyways, guys, I hope they release a new album. I hope they find a master reel for this. You know, I've been waiting for a new Aaliyah album. I believe that she would want her music heard. You know, a lot of these musicians do not just record the music just to record it. They record the music to release it at some point. Maybe a lot is work in progress. However, a lot of these artists care, you know, about the way they affect their fans. And I believe Aaliyah, I believe Tupac, DMX, all these deceased musicians and rappers really cared about their overall message and helping people. So guys, let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know your thoughts on the song. Let me know your thoughts on an upcoming album. Will you support it? Like I said, I think everyone should support it because it helps spread their message. So drop a comment below. It's your boy DJ Skandalous, your favorite DJ's favorite DJ. And I'll catch all you busters on the flip side. Deuces.